All right. All our listeners, all our members, and all our constituents, y'all know what time it is. It's another episode of the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast with my co-host, my man 50 Grand, my brother I Just. What's going on, I?
Hey, peace, I'm good. How about yourself, brother?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling, man. And as always, my name is Sosa, Sosa for the people. Some questions because we've just coming out of a series where we kind of did a more of a deep dive into entrepreneur, trying to help you, the listener, you, our members, take that plunge. You're sitting at that job, and you may looking for something else. You may not be content. You want to get in business, but you were a little unsure or you're a little hesitant. Well, the series that we just have come out of spoke to a lot of that, where we gave you some of our personal insight, some of our personal feelings, to help push you along, that to give you that extra boost that you may need to actually go ahead and go fulfill your dreams. So a lot of out of this series, we've gotten some questions, and so we wanted to dedicate this podcast to some of those questions. That we got quite a few questions. We picked out some of the questions that we kind of wanted to attack, and this is where we at. So again, man, this series that we're doing, this is for you. This is for you, the person that's at that 9 to 5, that wants to go ahead and get into self-employment, wants to become a business owner, and wants to ultimately become an entrepreneur.
The questions when we get the questions, because it gives you and I a chance to kind of, see what's on the mind of the people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do our best to answer them in the best of to our ability based off of our own experiences. And that's why I like about it, because it is truly based off of our own experiences. So
Yeah.
within business. So
Yeah.
hey man, if you want, man, we could just dive right
Jump
into
right
them.
into it. Jump right into it. I'll lead it off. So the first question is, what is the biggest question that I should know as an owner or entrepreneur? So what is the biggest question you need to know as an owner or an entrepreneur? I think it's a great question, because I think the biggest question you need to know is, I think, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? What exactly is, why are you doing it? Well, like, why do you want to get into business? I really feel wholeheartedly that without a purpose, your chance of success is going to greatly diminish. I think that if it's spoken about in scripture, and it's spoken about in everyday life. I mean, when people ask you, "Hey, what's your why? What's your why?" And I think that the quicker you can ask, or the better that you can answer why you're doing something, that's the better chance you're going to have a success. Because if you're haphazardly just doing something, you're going to probably haphazardly get results. But if you're, again, like we spoke about last week, or I just spoke about last week, the conscious, if it's consciously on your mind, hey, listen, I'm doing this because I want to take my family to a whole nother level, or I want my kids to be better than I was. Or what is the problem in that particular field or that line of business that you want to get into or you want to start? What is the problem that you can identify that you can go help fix? Because business, there's two things I think that can help you be successful in business. One, what is your purpose? And two, what problem are you helping solve with your business?
And I agree with you. And whenever there's a question that is proposed to me, if it doesn't, like, the answer don't come to me right away, I automatically say to myself, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So like when you, the viewer, one of our members of the Entrepreneur Chamber Facebook group, shout out to them, when
Yeah.
they asked that question, or the question was asked, I immediately was like, wow, I couldn't really just come up with something just right off top. And I'm like, that's a good question. And I think I'm just going to kind of flow off of what you were saying. It's that why,
Yeah.
and being able to answer that why, not just have the why lingering and you're still in search of that why prior to going into business. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I think like you said, the why kind of gives you a marker, a goal, a baseline, something that's going to motivate you, that's going to give you determination. That why allows you to be dedicated. Like I like the 3 Ds in business. So that's
Mm,
determination, dedication, and discipline. you
mm.
know, Understanding that why and answering that, helps you with that
Well, help me.
determination, with
Yeah,
that discipline, and with
yeah,
that dedication. So, I
yeah.
think your answer, more or less, so it sums it up. It's hard to
Well, I
go.
like what you said. I like what you
You know
said
what I
because you were
mean?
like, I like what you said because you were like, you like the 3 Ds. But yeah, so it kind of ties into what I'm saying. So I think if you have that why, you have that purpose,
That's
it's gonna
right.
better help you, attack those 3 Ds in a
Yes, sir.
in a much more effective manner. You know what I mean?
It
Or and
does.
also too, it's gonna have you looking for, what are these things that are gonna help me? But then you're gonna run into the 3 Ds. Oh, they got this 5 components of this, or they got this 4 quadrants of, you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
because you're trying, this is what you're trying to do. This is what you set as your goal. And
And
I agree 100%. I like how you threw that in there.
well, secondly, I was going to say, like you said about that family, like, so for me, it's family. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And when you spoke specifically about family, you said that you wanted your children to be better than you are.
yeah,
And I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
yeah.
Like there's a big argument whether like I'm gonna just kind of go off of
Go
little
ahead.
sidebar soaps, but like an
It's our show,
argument of
so we can
better
go
than
anywhere.
who's better, Drake or Jay-Z. And then people arguing, oh man, you crazy for saying Drake is better than Jay-Z. But I'm like, I'm thinking someone should be better than Jay-Z if Jay-Z is better than the Big Daddy Kane. So he had all of those points of references, Jay-Z that is, and Nas and those gentlemen as their points of references that made them better per se or quote unquote than their forefathers. And then
Yeah,
you figure Drake had all of them plus Jay-Z and Lil Wayne. So like he should be better. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It
yeah.
should be better to each one teach one thing. So when you said that, that's what kind of stuck out to me, man. As far as like the children, man.
Yeah,
That's like a big part of my why. So is creating things that can be passed down to my children, and
yeah.
begin generational wealth.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. My family is that is my purpose. That's my why. That's my
Mm-hmm,
driving force. That's always been my
mm-hmm,
driving force. Since me and me and this brother first met, I was talking about my family, my kids from the beginning. Because listen, I'm an immigrant. My parents came over here from Cuba, and pregnant with me, very little family. So and even through all that, I could say that yeah, we started in the projects, but we didn't end in the projects. We of course we didn't end up in a house, but we were in like an apartment complex. But we were a lot better, from where they started from. They came here with nothing, and they put me and my brother in position that we we're both my brother's a retired correction officer. We both are positive members of society. So and my job was just to, I want my kids to be better than me. I don't want them to see any roaches or see any projects or, what I mean, grow
mm-hmm.
up in that kind of lifestyle. I wanted, them to, to have things. I wanted to lead, my goal is I want to lead them things. I don't want them to struggle. I want them to, to be able to put them in a position where they can do something better for their kids, man, to create like a generational wealth for our whole family. I don't want, poorness, poverty. I want it to end with my family. You know what I'm saying?
So I think that was an excellent question. Shout out to the
Yeah.
Entrepreneur Chamber Facebook group
Shout out. That's a
and
good
the
question.
member that did propose that question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to proceed on to the next question, Sos.
Yeah.
And it is, what are some key points I should consider when pricing customers for my business? Like one thing that I do consider as a key point when I'm pricing my customers, Sos, is like just trying to determine my overall cost.
Yeah.
So like, so some one of the things may be like considering the scope of work. So what are they looking to get done? Is it just general office cleaning? Is it deep cleaning once a month? How long, and that scope of work is going to include how long is it going to take,
Yeah.
one person, two people, three people to
Mhm.
complete that scope of work. Another factor is, once I kind of understand the scope of work, am I going to do the work myself, clean the count myself, or am I going to put someone else in it, which is
Mhm.
going to eat away at my profit margin? So it automatically kind of forces me to think about like, my profit margins. Um,
That's 100.
and then another key point, you got to kind of account for the fluctuation in the market. So like we just went through the pandemic, so
Definitely.
COVID-19, you know what I mean? And
Definitely.
there
Yesterday's
was
price
a
is not
short
today's price.
yesterday's prices. Listen, man, how true is that? I
That's super
mean,
true.
that's just an excellent point, bro. How true is that? Because when everything kind of got into like a log jam, your prices went up the roof. So spray bottles went from like $1.99 to
Yeah.
like $3.45 a bottle with the
Yeah.
nozzle. So I don't know how much you can infuse that in the original contract with your customer, but those are just some of the points that I think
Yeah.
of when I'm, considering what prices am I going to set. Now, another thing that I consider is, am I going to be on a premium end or am I going to be on the low ball end? You know, for me, I prefer to do the more premium end based off of my experience in the janitorial business
Right.
and the quality of service that I know that we bring, the level of professionalism. But then at that point, you got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to say about pricing and points that you should consider is like your competitors. Like, what are your competitors
Yeah.
out there charging? I mean, SOSA and I, and this is just real talk, and this is why I love, these episodes, SOS, because we're always able to give the
Yeah.
listener, the members of the Entrepreneur Chamber, real life examples.
Yeah.
SOSA and I call each other and say, hey, man, what's the going price for floor jobs these days? Am I lying, bro?
Well, listen, I was just listen. We
I'll be like, yo, SOS,
all y'all really
how
doing
much
is
you
just
charging this square foot these
100,
days?
100,
Right?
100, 100.
And so, those are just some of the points that I consider, man. When I'm thinking about pricing my customer. How about you? How about you, Sos?
If it's a business that you're creating yourself, that you're like manufacturing it yourself, that you're putting your own time and effort, I think that price is whatever value that you yourself put on your creation.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that's kind of like, you can't really, there's no real formula for that. Is what you think is
Right,
worth,
right.
right? And my suggestion would be that if you made it yourself, that you just don't give that away because you took your time and effort to create that. That means that's unique. It's not something that you're going to find anywhere else on the market because you're the one who made it. When you're considering your pricing, you want to factor in, if it's your business, okay, what's the payroll? What's the taxes? What's the supplies? Or for my
Hey,
instance, like
your insurance,
you're
business
insuring, yeah,
insurance. Right, right.
for our cleaning company, yeah. Hey, look, what's the supplies? How much these supplies going to cost for this particular job? How many people do I need? So what's going to be the payroll, right? What's the insurance? Your insurance, your tax, all that. You got to create like a formula to factor that in, and then you got to decide what's going to be your profit point. What's your profit margin point? What's your goal to achieve? Is it 30%, 35%, 40%? You got to kind of figure that out and then kind of price it to how much money not only does it cost, but how much money you want to make. All right, so next question. Okay, I'm gonna do this one right. I like this one. All right. How did you feel when you first got into business? Were you nervous? Okay,
That's
so
a good one.
that's a good one. That's a good one.
It is. It is. It is.
So how did I feel when I first got into business? Yeah, you know what? I was nervous. If I'm being honest, it's been a long time, but I'm trying to really think back to that time. I don't know if I was nervous, but I definitely had trepidation. I definitely remember, feeling, not really knowing what to expect, but knew that this is what I wanted to do. Um, but but really, I guess how I felt when I first got into business. I first got into business because I was tired of being at a job, and I set a goal many years before, like 10 years before I actually got into business, that I wanted to be in business. So I already identified the goal when I was younger. When, I was, in my early 20s, and I identified that goal. Not only did I identify it, but I spoke it into the atmosphere. Like I would tell people, I told my wife, I told my parents, that hey, I want to get into business one day. I don't want to. I want to be self-employed. I don't want, I don't want to be under somebody. Um, so when I first did it, yeah, I was nervous. I could say that for me, I just made sure that because I had a family at that time, so to me it was more the big nervousness was, okay, if I do this, I can't fail. So the way I did it, I kind of hedged my bet. I kind of was still working and I started my business. So I kind of, even though I knew that this is what I wanted to do, I kind of had that security blanket because, I still had to pay the bills. I had a baby at the time, so, baby got to eat. So I kind of, so for me, there was obviously some nervousness and some trepidation because I hedged my bet. If I was totally 100% confident, 100% in, I probably said, no, I'm quitting my job and I'm doing this. But
The
I kind of
heck
did
with
both.
this.
Yeah, I kind of did both until I was ready to go full time in my business.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous, but you know, I always was one that got nervous. So even when I played little league baseball or when I played football, but I also learned at a young age how to conquer my nervousness. So, some of the greatest people in the world, like I remember hearing about Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson even said it. Every time he got into the ring,
Right.
he was still a little bit nervous, but it was that ability to conquer his nerves. There are situations that I've done more than one time that I still get a little bit nervous about,
Yeah.
but it's my ability to conquer those nerves and not allow me being nervous to turn into anxiety. You know what I'm saying?
I,
Because now it's a whole nother animal there. So being able to, I think, being a little nervous, which makes that such a great question, is these are some things that are just natural. I mean, it comes with our DNA is
yeah.
human beings, is our feelings and ordinances that make you human. You're going to
Yeah.
be nervous about things. You
Yeah.
were nervous before you went and took your, like most of us, your driver's exam to start driving.
Right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Hey, he was nervous before you went to your prom, your senior prom or whatever.
Right. That's
For
right.
me, when I got married, I was a little bit nervous going to the
Yeah.
altar. You know what I'm
100.
saying? So I think that's what makes that such a great question because being nervous is nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of, or do you have the ability to conquer your nerves? And that does
Great
take
point.
a
Right.
certain skill set. But yeah, so I thought that was a good question.
And just to add on to what you were saying, because when you were answering the question, where my mind, when you were so eloquently saying, what, answering that question, you took me to, where my mind went was, I think there's a difference between being nervous and being scared. I think
Yes.
when you're
Good
nervous,
point.
I think when you're nervous, right, like how brother I just was saying, I think that's healthy. Yeah, we all get nervous. I played sports all my life. There isn't one game that before I played basketball, football. I did
Right.
track, I did everything, did a little bit baseball, I did all that. But there wasn't one game that I ever played in that I wasn't nervous. I didn't have those butterflies before the game.
That's right.
Whenever to this day, whenever we sometimes we have a big job, and I might be a little nervous about that. Like,
Nervous. There you
make
go.
sure, man. I hope this, hope we, we show and prove. We do what we do. And done things a million times, but there's still like a little nervousness. So I think, scared will take you, will walk you, will take you off that plank. Will take you off that ledge. But nervousness, I think, will keep you there. But like how brother I just said, but if you can conquer that and understand that it's just your nerves, it ain't, it's nothing to be scared of. This is just your nerves, and that your nerves can actually create positive energy for you.
That's
Like
right.
those
That's right.
butterflies can actually create positive energy for you. We're scared. that's going to create negative energy for you to the point where you don't want to do it, where you're too scared to do it. With nervousness, that if you fight through it, on the other side is some of your greatest achievements. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're both right.
You're both right.
You're both
You're
right.
both right,
If you
Sos.
can't, or if you think you can, you're both right.
But see, that's why being able to tie examples to your deliberations so paints the picture
Yeah,
for those that are listening,
that's right.
because they don't see us day to day and how we move day to day,
That's right.
to see that picture by watching us move around. So only when we upload the podcast and then we give our experiences along with an example, it paints the picture for the person, and it makes it that more intimate for them to say, you know what, I can do this because I'm not the only person that has gone through this.
Yep.
And I say it to people all the time, man, and that's not to undermine myself, but I'm just talking about the possibility.
Yeah.
If I can do it, anybody can do it. So that's how I look at it, man.
I'll be honest with you.
Listen.
Most of the things that I do, it's because if I saw someone else do it, I feel 100% encouraged. Now, not hating, I
right.
feel encouraged because I'm like, oh man, this dude could do it. I know I could do it, and
That's
not no
right.
fight on that person. Just it could be
Yeah,
anybody.
exactly.
You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Exactly.
If I see someone do it, then I know that possibility exists. It can be done.
The possibility
someone
exists.
else did it. That's right. That's
right.
not an impossibility because it's been done. So that means you can do it. So I give, man, I love seeing a lot of times when I'm a little unsure, I look for people that have done it already to give me that extra encouragement, especially if I'm a little extra nervous or have a little extra trepidation.
I'll move on to the next question. Let me see what we have here. It is, as a business owner or a business owner, speaking to SOSA and I, what are some ways or how can I add value to my existing customers? So I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just say, like, one thing I think off top is have open communication with your customer. And that don't mean, you gotta every day call and, hey, how's everything going? If everything going well, you don't gotta communicate with your customer every single day.
Yeah.
Maybe once a month, once every other month. I don't know, based off of your relationship, with your customer.
Yeah.
I would just say another thing is, to bring value, is provide exceptional customer service. So when I think of exceptional customer service, I think of, if my customer has a problem and they reach out to me or to us, how quickly can we respond? And I think a reasonable amount of time is 24 hours. So I don't think, like, for example, if my customer reach out to me, and unless they call me, 4 or 5 times back to back to back, but if it's just one phone call and you're in the midst of servicing another customer as a business owner, so you're moving around, you may not be able to get right back to that customer right away.
Yeah.
So I think having exceptional customer service is being able to respond back to your customer within a reasonable amount of time. You determine what your reasonable amount of time is based off of the nature of your business. Or for me, it's like, all right, if you really got like, I don't know, like a flood happen in your business, the cleaning company may not be the first person you might want to call. You know what I'm saying? So if I get back to you within 24 hours, I think that's very reasonable. So
Yeah.
if you got a fire and your business burnt down and you were a customer of mine's, cleanup company or the cleaning company is going to be the first person you call. So 24 hours for me is just reasonable amount of time to respond back to that customer. So before I pass it on to my brother Sos, man, to respond and build upon this question. Once again, it is the question is, how can I, as a business owner, add value to my customer? And I think of another thing is like just being reliable, be professional. And pretty much that's it, man. Certainly that reliability is important, Do they have to worry about after Friday? So did the cleaning company crew
Yeah.
show up that Friday? Are they worried about when they come in Monday morning, the place is going to look like the way they left it on Friday? But
Yeah.
if you're reliable, they know, especially if you're a small business owner like me and you're dealing with other small business owners, a lot of times you're going to know the owner of your customer.
Yeah.
Like me, I
Yeah, that's
know
true.
for the
That's
most part,
true.
I know the
Yeah,
owners
that's true.
of the
Yeah, like I know
customer
all
I
my
deal
customers.
with.
No doubt. No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Or at least most of them.
So yeah,
But another way that you can add value also is, depending on what type of industry you're in, you figure out ways of how can you add to your list of services, or or to your or to whatever it is that you're doing. What is it that I can do to add? Like we're speaking about a cleaning company, right? So, yeah, obviously we're cleaning the building or we're cleaning the house. But now, if we add, carpet cleaning, if we add, window washing, these are things that we didn't originally offer to you, but now we are offering it to you. So, you're providing more value. And also, I think a lot of times when you have customers, when they have a problem and you can answer it. And what I love is sometimes when they have a problem that's not in the field that we're servicing them in, they have a totally different problem, but we can still provide a conduit, or I know somebody for that. Call this guy. That's happened several times. Think about it. If you're cleaning the office and they ask you something about plumbing that you don't do, but you say, "Oh yeah, I got a guy. Let me call him." And then that person comes and does a great job for them. Just think about how then now they're looking at you a lot, a little
how
differently.
valuable you were
That's right.
and
That's right.
instrumental to
Guarantee you they're gonna look
connecting
at you a
those
little
two.
bit differently that day than they did the day before.
Absolutely. And I think the great part about what you're saying, so it made me think of you can do that pretty much what it doesn't matter what you're doing. So what I thought about, let's say you're selling, necklaces,
Right.
and you're known for selling necklaces, gold necklaces, one-off pieces,
Yeah.
and then you have your customer base that normally, whether it's all women or what have you, but they normally
Yep.
buy necklaces off of you. The way
Yeah.
you can bring value is, let's say you start selling earrings. Now they went from just buying necklaces from you to now they're saying, hey, I can get a matching set of a necklace and earrings all from the same place. So now I don't got to look for in two different locations, spend more time on the internet or in the store. I can get a necklace and, you know, uh, some earrings from the same person where typically they could have just bought necklaces from you. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
Yeah.
that's
So,
you just gave a living, breathing example. Because my wife,
yeah.
my beautiful wife, she actually started off selling, handmade necklaces. I mean, handmade
Mm-hmm.
earrings.
Mm-hmm.
She then expanded that. She expanded that to bracelets. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing one of the bracelets right now. So,
See, I told you we authentic, man.
we
We
authentic. You know
tried
what I
to
mean?
tell
So.
y'all we authentic.
So if
Real
you're on
life
Instagram,
experience.
100. If you're on Instagram, check out Ashe Handmade Designs.
Right.
That's just what he said. She started off with earrings. Now she makes bracelets. She makes hoop earrings. She makes a whole set for you. During the pandemic, her and my mother-in-law started creating masks. So they started creating, fabric, handmade fabric masks. Beautiful masks, like not your normal design. So like I said, that was a way that she figured out a way to create more value,
To
not only
create
for
more
herself but
value.
for her
That's
business.
right.
So that was a great
That's right.
example. And you led me right to my wife, so I had to shamelessly plug.
That's right. Hey, because otherwise she would have looked at this the episode should have been like,
Yeah, but like,
excuse
wait,
me.
y'all. She said I just was talking about
You were supposed to
earrings
you were
and
supposed to
necklaces.
give
You
us
didn't
a
bring me
plug. You're
up.
supposed to give Ashe Designs a plug right there. So
100.
hey man,
100.
you just still get the big piece of chicken now. So it's good. A happy wife is a happy life.
He's got the big piece of chicken, no doubt.
a happy wife is a happy life, my brother.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next question. One of our members, um, Okay, so all right. So they asked this question. I'm gonna go with this one. Are business codes of conduct and ethics the same thing? And if not, what are the differences basically? Like what are some of the differences
What are
basically?
some of the differences?
So all right, so that's a great question actually. That's actually a great question. It's almost like the scaling and
It is. It is.
the scaling and the what you
In
call it
growth.
growth. It's almost like
That's
scaling
right.
growth we
That's right.
spoke about a couple episodes
Because
back.
in layman's terms, so you would think it's the same thing.
It kind of takes you to right. You kind of think, looking at it blindly, you think, just at first glance, what is the difference? But there actually is a big difference because, and this is just the way I see it. Your business codes of conduct, is what is required of you, right? When you give somebody your codes of contact, that's usually like an employee handbook, or that's usually like basically what your job description and what they expect from you out of your jobs, and they expect you to do it in this way and in this fashion, right? So when I think of business codes of conduct, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of something that's kind of like a Bible, that's kind of like written there. You know it, you
That's right.
see it, right, and you're not supposed to really stray from it. So it's tangible. It's like something that you know. Where ethics, to me, is something that's not written. Like when you think of your ethics, I'm thinking more like, like basically, if if you're at a job and you stay an hour late or you come in an hour early, that's your work ethic. You know what I
It's
mean?
your work ethics. That's right.
That's your ethics. So your ethics, your codes of conduct can be quantified because it's like given to you as this is what we expect. Where your ethics is hard to quantify what someone's ethics is, and I think that can almost be defined differently within different people. But like when I think of ethics, I think of your work ethic. Basically, is what are you doing when no one is looking? Like you know what I
That's
mean?
right.
Like that. Like that's what I think of. Like, are you still following those codes of conduct? Right? Are you still being professional when no one's around? When the office is closed and there's nobody in there but just you and the janitor? You know what I mean? Are you still putting in that same work ethic that you did, when your boss was around? Or if you're a business owner, you know what I mean? Are you doing what you're asking of your employees? So to me, when I think of ethics, when I think of codes of conduct, I think of something that I know what it is, and when I think of ethics, it's something that I myself think of, that I myself have within me, and that I myself am kind of defining for myself.
Hey man, I almost don't have nothing else to add on to that. I mean, because I mean, so that is what you bring to the table as far as the individual going to a job that already has a business code of
Right.
conduct. What ethics do you bring to the table? So, we both worked in collections before, and
Yeah,
we used to go in early.
that's
This was
right.
not on the clock. This was, you weren't paid for that.
That's right.
We used to stay late,
That's right.
after our shift, and there was no overtime. We were paid on bonus, so
Now we
it
pay
was
commission,
in
so we
our
were
best
getting paid.
interest to go in a little bit early based
But
off of scheduled calls and things like that. But that's what helped define us being ethical. You know
that's
what I'm
right.
saying? But even prior to that, so like they say, some things start at home. You know what I'm
That's right.
saying? So, like, for me, ethics is one of those things that is principles and your values, and that guides your behavior. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's right.
So when I think of like ethics, I think of, the principles and the values that's going to guide my behavior. And the example you gave was so spot on is, are you still going to do the right thing, especially when no one is looking,
That's
you
right.
know?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Especially when nobody's looking.
I
I
want to
tell
tap in.
people, because for my job, one of our codes of conduct is our theft policy. So it's like, okay, you're cleaning the building, you know, and I don't know, it's a laptop or cell phone. So it could be
Right.
$5, $10. Sometimes for me, thinking a little cynical, I'll be thinking that those are plants, like a way of somebody just trying to test you. An ethical person is going to, again, let that person know, their supervisor, hey, I found $5, $10 on the second floor in the female's restroom. I found the laptop, in this building or in the restroom or what have you. And then you or whoever the supervisor is, the ethics has to go up the chain, because then they're going to turn over the money, put it in an envelope and give it to a security guard or what have you, or someone from that organization or that business that you're servicing, and say, hey, look, this is what we came across. Those are the ethics based off of your business codes of conduct. So another thing that I think about as far as business code of conducts, and you and I spoke about this off air, so was like, for us, or for me, it's a cleaning business.
Yeah.
As the business owner, do I provide uniforms to my staff? And then furthermore, do they wear uniforms or have some type of, I'm not really overly strict as far as us cleaning. So, you don't have to have on khaki pants per se. You can wear sweatpants, but primarily I try to keep it black sweatpants, black sneakers, you know what I'm saying? And we provide a shirt, and wear your shirt with the company logo on there.
That's right.
That's part of our business code of conduct.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I think about as far as business code of conduct and ethics, and that there is a difference between the two. That there is certainly a difference between the two.
What too? You gave great examples, and there's two that I want to touch on. So you said, like, when we used to do collections, and you gave the example, like, we used to stay late and stuff like that, and then you say, we were paid commissions. But I didn't want to interrupt you, but that was excellent, because think about it. Yeah, we were getting paid a bonus. We were getting paid commissions, but this is the difference, right? Even though we were getting paid commissions, right? Brother IJUST, myself, my brother George, and
shout out to George Sims.
Right, and my man, there's about 4 or 5 other people that was right there with us working them times, because you know what? We saw it as that we are getting paid, because we're earning a commission check. So this couple of hours that we're putting extra, it is going to translate to money, but not everybody saw it that way, because as soon as that whistle blows, as soon as it was quitting time, 80% of that office, 90% of that
was
office
out of here.
was gone. It was only us there. And a lot of times we were there with no real supervision, and we could have been out there cutting a fool, but no, our ethics, right? Our seriousness of getting that money, of supporting our family, of providing for our family, pushed us to, be there that extra time, put that extra work in. That was an excellent, example of what you said. And I think that kind of speaks a little bit, to the conduct and the ethics, what you're saying. How many times do we revere, the star quarterback? When we hear the one quarterback that comes in early and stays late, 9 times out of 10, that's your Tom Brady's, that's your great quarterback. They're usually they usually end up being a very good quarterback, a great quarterback, or they're at least on their way, or they're trying to be the best. And then how many times have we heard of guys that, that we hear, oh, this guy, he comes in, he comes in basically when everybody else, he leaves when everybody else. Think about it. We give more respect to the person that does put the extra work in, that does put the extra time in. And whether we subconsciously think we do or we don't, I guarantee you, subconsciously, we actually do give more credence to that person that is putting the more work in. We're going to have more respect for someone that's going above and beyond than someone that's just, basically, getting to the tape. We're gonna gravitate more to the people that are running through that tape.
And that just goes into so many different realms, man. You could look at that like your favorite artist. They stay in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, your favorite athlete, man. You can't keep this boy out the gym. You
That's
know what I'm
right. That's
saying?
right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know,
That's
whether it's a painter, like they were always painting and, refining their craft and,
yep. That's
the
it.
extra time that they could have been out, partying. And one thing, and I'm gonna just do this one, man, because I gotta shout this one out. Like the boy Drake said, man, while y'all out there partying, I'm making the music that y'all partying too. So like he like, yo,
How
while
about
y'all
that?
out there partying, I'm in the studio.
I'm in the studio. That's right.
I'll
I'm
party
working.
later. You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
working
Right
so y'all
now,
can party. That's right.
yeah, I'm in the studio. I'm working. So yeah. And
Yeah.
hey, Sos, man, as they say, man, when you're having a good time, time goes fast, man. So as I'm looking, man, we're approaching, the hour. So
Yeah. We just want to do like one more question apiece or something.
yeah, absolutely, man. We'll do one more question, man. And the reason why I'm saying that, not because we're looking to end the podcast, but we got some bonus footage for y'all. We're gonna dedicate a part of this podcast to the 50th anniversary of hip hop,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
I can't wait to get to that part. You know what I'm
We're gonna be
saying?
getting to that part. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
Nah, but before I go on to my next question, man, and once again, shout out to those, all of our members of the Entrepreneur Chamber Facebook group, the community here on YouTube that SOSA and I are building brick by brick. We thank you for checking us out, checking the podcast. Y'all leave comments for us. We see the thumbs up, we see the likes, so thank you so much.
Right.
And while you're at it, just go ahead and you're listening right now. Go ahead and subscribe. If there's anything that you want to add to the conversation, just drop a comment or two inside of the comment section for this particular podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go into like my last question, brother. And this one is let's see here. How can I, as a small business owner, identify the right customer segment for my business? Now I'm gonna just say this. Overall, and I thought about this question because I read it and was like, all right, it's a little bit, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's like an open-ended, a little bit of a trick question or what.
Yeah,
So,
because I was trying to figure it out myself just
but
now.
listen, man, I'm gonna just put it like this then, man. The best customer segment is a profitable customer segment. So listen, man, I don't know what type of question that was, Sos, but I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna just leave it short and sweet like this, man. The best customer segment you want to identify for your business is a profitable
It's a profitable
customer
one. That's
segment.
right. That's right. If it ain't making no money, it's not a good business. Not a good segment. That
Don't
segment don't
even
work.
matter, Sos.
That's right. We can
I
X
don't,
that
I
one
don't care
out.
what that customer segment is. If it ain't a profitable one,
That's
then
right.
hey, man.
That's right. It could
So
be the prettiest, it could be the nicest, it could be whatever. But if it ain't making no money, it ain't making no.
it ain't
It
making
ain't
no
making no
money.
sense. If it ain't making no money, it ain't making no sense.
Hey
Sense
man,
or sense.
hey man, pun intended on that one too, right, Sos? If it ain't
That's
making
what.
you no
That's
money,
it.
they ain't making no sense.
That's
Pun
right.
intended on that one, brother.
That's right.
So listen, hey, do
I
you
don't
want
know
to
how to
add
answer
anything on to that one?
that. I think to borrow your quote from earlier, I don't know what else I can say to that one. That's a damn good answer right there, because I'm a little stumped with that one too.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that, yeah, like you said, man, I just think you gotta identify, what, first of all, what is your business? And then what are the customer, the different types of customers in that business? And then, like he said, who's the one that's making the most money? If it's if your customers are doctors, nurses, politicians, and athletes, and you make the most money with doctors and athletes, well, then spend most of your time in the doctors and athletes and
And
spend less
athletes,
time
that's right.
in the other people. You know what I mean? So I think that would pretty much answer
100.
that one. We thank you for that question. That listen, it's a good question. If we're both stumped, it's a damn good question. So we want to thank you for your time and effort. I know, we're joking, but it's because you stumped us. So, but I think that, brother, I just found the greatest answer that any of us can give us, which was that, man. It's it's whatever segment is making the most money. That's the best segment. All right, so for my last question is, what do you do when nobody in your family or friends or anybody seems to believe in your dream or support you?
Wow.
Okay.
Good
So
question.
that's a good question. That's a great
Yes,
question.
sir.
I'm gonna tell, and that's a question I'm gonna tell you right now that we're all going to face at one point or another. I guarantee you that if you're in business or if you have a dream or if you have some wild, crazy idea, I guarantee you that your family, your friends, people closest to you, 9 out of 10 of them are not going to support you. Now, there's a difference. I think your family will support you, but they ain't gonna believe in you though. They'll support you, but man, why are you doing that? That ain't gonna work. But they'll still support you or whatever it is that you're doing, but they just gonna say that ain't gonna work. Your friends, some of your friends, unfortunately, they're not gonna believe in your dream. So my suggestion is, what do you do when nobody? Well, first of all, if it's your family, well, first of all, if it's your friends, go get new friends. That would be my suggestion.
Right.
They don't believe in you, or they don't.
You're
Now they
surrounding
don't.
yourself with a bunch of non-believers. You know what I mean?
Because right there and there you with non. So right there and there you know that okay, if I'm dreaming and I'm talking about this and you don't even now listen. I will say this though about your friends. I think it's one thing if they don't believe in you and support you. Now, if they don't believe in it, okay, cool. They can still stick around because I'm gonna show
That's
you
right.
what I'm
That's
going to
right.
do. But now, if they don't support you, man, go get new friends because that's not a friend. If you got a dream and you talk about this wild cockamamie scheme that you came up with, and you got a friend and you say, "Hey, I just need your support for this," and they're not willing to support you, I'd immediately go think about that friendship because I don't think that that's a positive friendship. Because ultimately, what's going to happen is, in my opinion, is you're going to be pouring into that friendship, and you're going to be making deposits into that friendship, but you're not going to be able to take any withdrawals out of that friendship. So it's going to be a one-sided friendship. You're going to be the one doing the pouring. They're gonna have their cup out the whole time, and while your cup is sitting there empty and they ain't pouring into yours. Now, if it's your family, listen, your family, a lot of times they're gonna think they ain't gonna believe in you. That's one. That's name any successful person, their friends and family. It wasn't, your friends, your family, they're like practice. When you're trying to do your thing, you kind of use them for practice. You know what? I'm gonna practice with them because I already know they don't believe me, but I know that if I say, hey, I need you for this, they'll do it. Only because I'm family, not because they believe in you, but because it's family. So you kind of practice with them until you can take it to the public. But most of the time, man, your business or your greatest things that you build are a lot of times going to be with people that you don't know. It's not going to be, I know we live in this world, especially when you grow up in the hood, man. We all say, "Oh man, I want to do this with my boys," and man, we're going to do this. I'll be honest, man, listen, I'm not going to, what I say my age, but I've been on this earth for a while, and I can tell you that don't ever happen.
You've been on this earth for a while.
I've been on this earth for a while. I can tell you that never happens. So, so I would just suggest, man, that don't be discouraged about who believes in you, who don't believe in you. It's all about whether you believe in yourself, and your belief in yourself would take you a lot further than what somebody else believes.
I agree, man. Because it just makes me think that if you're so overly consumed of whether somebody believes in your dreams and your goals, then ultimately, speaking for myself, you're one that cares about what other people think about you. And there's a thin line between that because I do care with, my circle think about me. I want them to think that I'm a man of integrity, a man that's
No
my
doubt.
word is my bond.
No
But
doubt.
I'm talking about, like SOSA saying, those that don't believe in you, then or support you, then how are you really calling them a friend?
Right.
And then why would you even really care about what they think about you?
Exactly.
Because truly they're not even believing in you, nor do they support you.
Yeah.
Your family, your wife, it could be your children, it could be your
Yeah.
brothers, it could be your sisters, you know, like So said, they may not believe in everything that you
Yeah.
do. It depends on if you're the type that change your mind or do something new every day. Like
Yeah.
why would they believe in you when you're always starting something and never complete it?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they're always there to support you,
That's
you
right.
know, and that matters, that they're there to support you, no matter how wacky your idea may seem, or, you change your mind about things. Because, I mean, I'll be honest, that's something that I worked on. And it took me a while to complete things that I started. So I understand now why maybe sometimes my wife may have not believed in a print to press t-shirt business I wanted to start. Like I was, we go out to dinner every time we go on. I got a new business venture in my mind. Fortunately for me, I didn't start many of them. I've learned, you know what I mean, to complete what I started. Yeah, so I get it, and I couldn't have said it. I can't say it even in any better than what you said, brother. At the end of the day, it matters whether you believe in your dreams, in your goals, and your aspirations. And to be quite frank with the person that asked that question, we're in the era of you got to show and prove. Listen, man, if they don't believe, show and prove and make them a believer.
But they're gonna be watching.
You know what I'm saying?
They're gonna be watching. They're not gonna be right. They're gonna be quiet. They're gonna be quietly watching you, but they're gonna be watching you.
And then they still might be supporting you the whole way along, but quietly watching you. And then, man, you got to make them a believer. You know
what I'm saying? Caveat. This is another caveat, just to kind of, jump off of what Brother IJUST was saying. A lot of times it's like a little caveat. A lot of times, man, they really just, when they don't support you and they don't believe in you, a lot of times it's because they can't do it. A lot of times because they're just projecting their fears onto you because they're not brave enough to go ahead and go all in on this cockamamie scheme or this big plan that you got, this big dream that you got. A lot of times, they're really casting their own doubts. They're really projecting their own doubts and their own inner feelings onto you. And sometimes that's done subconsciously. Sometimes they're not doing it consciously, especially
or to hurt you. Or to hurt you.
Someone that loves and cares about you. They're really just doing it because that's their own feelings. So I'll be honest with you, and this is something I will say. Almost every time in my life, anything that I've ever done big, I had no support. My own family didn't believe or support it really until I did it. But one thing that this is for me personally, and I hope this encourages the person who asked that question. And man, if you know in your heart of hearts and you got that feeling, that little fire in the gutters, it's just something speaking to you saying, man, this is what you should do. Man, go ahead and do it, because this is just a little plus game. A lot of times, the more people that don't believe you and don't support you, the better and greater that idea is. Because if everybody believed and supported you and thought it was a great idea, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
The more people that say, nah, that can't be done, I get encouraged. The more people that tell me that I can't do that or that, man, that ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna be able to do that. Man, that's the more encouraged I get, because I feel like I'm on to something. So I hope
I'll be honest with you, man, because we have the yin and the yang. And part of my yin and part of my yang is I like proving people wrong sometimes when they don't believe in what I want to do. I'm just being real, y'all.
Real too.
And I try not to omit that energy out there like that, because positive energy always activate elevation and cause elevation. So we always want to radiate positive energy. But man, it's just that little bit side of me right there that says, that little small chip that may be on my shoulder, that edge in me, that little fire that's burning in me, to want to prove those wrong. And it's not like I'm going to go and floss in their face and say, hey, look, I told you so I would do it. And look, I did it. No, it's not about that. It's about, sometimes
and maybe it's about
having that fuel, using that as fuel to add on to the fire. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And if I could, because I think that's such a good question, and it's leading us right into, we spoke about the 50th anniversary of hip hop.
That's right.
Man, I'm gonna give you a line from Hove. He said, my uncle ain't think I could sell 1 million records. Sold 1 million records like 1 million times. In reasonable doubt, you know what I'm saying? So even like people like Jay-Z had uncles and family members that didn't believe in his goals. and believed in his dreams. So, we're all the same.
That's right.
We're all the same in human nature.
What I like that you said was that you put it to yourself and you kept it real, because you know what? That's real. That's real than real deal Holyfield right there. Because you know what? Some of my greatest accomplishments and some of my greatest things that I've ever done was fueled off of the backs of the haters and the doubters. You know what I mean? When I thought I couldn't do it, oh, such and such
That's
said
right.
I couldn't do this. Man, let me work a little harder. You know what I mean? And you know what?
That's
Yeah, of
right.
course we ain't gonna flaunt in that, but sometimes you know what? You might flaunt it. Yeah, you told me I couldn't do it. Check me out now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or
Mm-hmm.
I approached them with a business opportunity. Oh man, I ain't doing that. I don't think that's gonna work. And then I do it. And then they come back and they say, "Oh man, remember when you offered me that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do remember, but you ain't think it was gonna work." And you know, I kind of throw that little jab out there. You know what I
You
mean?
got to. Hey, listen, man. Hey, speaking of jab, with fight night tonight, you gotta throw that jab out there,
Big
so
fight tonight. Big fight tonight.
you gotta
Listen, man,
throw
we
that
gotta talk
jab out
about the
there.
50th anniversary. We been here all day. We can talk about the 50th anniversary. We can go off of that question all day, and we can talk about the fight tonight. So we gotta
Yes,
talk about
sir.
the 50th anniversary here.
Hey, listen, man. So I'm gonna just be straight up, and it's kind of going off of what you and I spoke about in private about hip hop. First, let me just say happy 50th anniversary to hip hop. You've been
Man,
a part of my
50,
life. And I'm gonna
50.
speak about hip hop like the way Common spoke about hip hop. I used to love her. That was one of my favorite songs.
Love that
Because when
song.
I realized that he was talking about hip hop,
Blew all our heads.
that blew my that
That
blew
blew
my
my
head
head.
right
That blew
there.
my head. That
Like,
blew my
where's
head.
this dude going with it? He was like, I'm talking about hip hop. We spoke about De La Soul and Potholes in My Lawn. Like, I remember where I was at when I heard
Rest,
that record
rest
and
in
was
peace,
like,
True
yo, this
Boy.
beat was so different. And the lyrics of Potholes in My Lawn. And once I realized as I got a little bit wiser, what does potholes in my lawn really mean?
Mm.
That was just deep to me. And another example of why I love hip hop, man, I remember one time where my sister, this is back in like 92, so and she's an alumni of Rutgers. And KRS was performing up there as one of their like student activities back in the day. And this is when the guys that had Smoking Madism, what was the name of that group that he had with him?
Yeah,
It was
they were
Smoking
KRS-One.
Madism.
What was they called? Channel Live.
Channel Live, right? So it was me. Shout out to my man CI Wise. We up there. My sister invited us up there. Now we young boys,
Yeah,
16, 17.
yeah.
And we indulging in some extra activities on the sidelines.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then next you know, man, the two brothers that we was over there, doing what shout out
Right,
to 420 that just
right,
passed.
right. Participating
We
in the culture.
yeah, man, participating in the culture sauce. Them brothers said to me and CI, all right, man, it was nice meeting y'all. We about to go on stage and perform. And then they performed Smoking Mad Ism. The whole time we didn't even know it was Channel Live. So you know what I'm saying? We was just sitting there chilling with them. They was just like regular dudes. But these are the moments in my life of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I remember used to being and wanting to be a break dancer and getting cardboard and
Hmm.
watching Beat Street and
Hmm.
all of that, man, and being like, wow, man, like the moves and wanting to pop lock in the whole 9 yards. And the golden era of hip hop. So I could talk about hip hop. That could be its own segment within
I
itself.
mean,
So
I think we should do a segment. Get some hip hop artists that we know. Get on here. I
yeah,
think that'd be a great episode. I think we should put that on the agenda here. So, because
make that
some
like a bonus episode or
like
something like
yeah,
that.
man, I think we do need an episode because let me tell you, man, hip hop. I mean, what can I say about hip hop, man? I mean, my love affair with hip hop has been forever, man. I remember the first time I was in New York. I was at my cousin's house, and she showed, the Sugar Hill Gang record. I'll never forget that like lollipop. What's that? Candyland had
Yeah,
that like
yeah, yeah,
Candyland.
yeah. It was like a trumpet or something like
It was
that. It'll
right.
open up at the end
Like
like a
how
trumpet.
Candyland looked, that game Candyland, that
Yeah,
reminds me how they
yeah,
looked. Never forget
exactly.
that. And she played the song, and I was like, damn, like what is? She was like, oh yeah, this the new thing. Basically, she was going to studio. She was older than me, but at that time she was going to Studio 54 and all that. And she was like, oh yeah, this the new thing. And man, from that point on, man, I was hooked. And I was fortunate enough to grow up with some super talented brothers, man. There was a local artist that became a national artist. My brother YZ, peace out to YZ. My brother B Fine, who's a brother to me. This his family is my family. My family is his family. We are brothers. We have a brotherhood that cannot be broken. You know what I mean? And probably the most talented artistic dude I've ever met personally. The brother can draw. The brother can rap. The brother taught himself how to make beats and started making incredible beats. But I was fortunate enough to be around those guys, man. And we had a rap group and we had a record deal, and so I got to meet some of the greats, man. I got to actually be in the same room with Leor Cohen. I had to, I got I was fortunate enough to meet Russell Simmons. I had the pleasure, of meeting, Rick Rubin. We performed with, KRS-One, with Nice and Smooth, and I got to meet some of these guys, and let me tell you, man, and speaking a little bit to that question that one of our listeners was talking about. I remember telling my dad, yeah, I love, he's like, man, turn that, whatever, what is that? I listened to it in the radio. How you get in the car and you always flip it to you get in the car with your dad or something, and you always flip it to the station you want. My dad's like, what is that? I don't want to hear that, whatever. No, that music's not that. I said, Dad, this is the new thing. I said, Dad, this music's gonna be here forever.
Back then it was only like two radio stations.
Back then it was Hot 97 and Kiss FM.
Play on all these stations.
What he Hot 97 was Kiss FM and WBLS. And my dad was like, nah, I said, Dad, this is Dad. This is gonna be the new thing. Dad, this is gonna be forever. This is the greatest form of music ever, basically. And he would like kind of laugh it off. But man, here we are all these years later, man, and hip hop is still here, man, celebrating its 50th anniversary. So, man, I can only say that, man, it's a part of. I always say I'm a hip hop. I grew up in that culture. It's like I just said, man, I was breakdancing. We were rapping. We were sliding, battling on the cardboard. We was doing graffiti. We was going up to New York to the Latin Quarters, and I remember the first time I went to Latin Quarters and saw, the IOU KRS-One when Scott LaRock was still alive, and they had the IOU dancers, and man, this is just memories that are just emblazed in my brain that will stick with me to the day I die. And so I always say that I'm a b-boy at heart. So I'm always, even though I'm this, I'm a business owner and things like that, I'm a b-boy at heart. So I'm always going to be a b-boy. I'm always, everything about the hip hop culture, because it is a culture, man. It's just not just hip hop, man. Hip hop is a culture, and so I just want to say, thank you to hip hop for all the many years of greatness and all the just the many years of just entertainment, and just really just I grew up with hip hop. Like hip hop helped raise me from a young boy to a man, and I can honestly say that. And I can honestly say that. So I just want to salute hip hop, man.
Absolutely, man. Like some of my fondest memories, man. Like I remember hearing Slick Rick, man, hey young world, like, man, the world is yours. Like when I heard that song, like that melodic beat, I was just like, man, he's talking to us. He's talking to me and my generation. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, that's what hip hop, like to your point, Sos, has done. Like you just remember those moments, the people you were with.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic. I remember, we used to go to Ace Record Shop. What was that, off the boulevard? No, Scoops was off the boulevard. Ace, I believe, was downtown, and get the newest record and want to read the credits on the back of the record. The artist always said who they would thank, as if my name was going to be, like they were going to thank me. I was reading it for like as if my name was going to be mentioned in the thank yous by the artist. And I would read it like, who was the producer? Like, and then when you find out, like, oh, Diamond D produced that beat. Oh, snap. Like, I didn't know he was like that. Or, I remember first time hearing DeWitt, man, with Gangstar and that Primo beat, man. And hearing DeWitt, oh man, that song was just like, I remember the first time I was at Romeo and Juliet's, bro, in Trenton, and I heard "Who
Yeah.
Shot You" by Biggie. Like the dude played that song like 17 times back to back, bro.
Let me tell you,
So
bro.
like hip
I
hop to
remember
me, man, like So said, man, thank you. I salute hip hop.
100.
I am hip hop, man. And the reason why I could say that is because I grew up with hip hop. That's what helped
100.
raise me, man. So
When you was going down, like let me tell you, there was when I was a kid, man. There was two people that if I heard a new song from them, I'd immediately go looking for a tape, or if I didn't have a tape, man, I'm putting the tape over the thing so I could re-record over something I already had recorded. And whatever
yeah,
it
I
was, because
remember that,
'cause
bro.
back then the good thing about back then, whether it was DJ Red Alert back then, he would play the song if it was a new song, kind of like how Flex does now. He would play the song over and over, so you had about 10 minutes to get your
Yes.
stuff together
To get your
before,
tape together.
yeah, to get your tape
That's right.
together. So you knew that. So, but the two brothers for me, man, was first of all the God Rakim, probably
Mm.
my all-time favorite rapper. I mean, he's definitely on my list because as time goes on, you get older, you get new guys. But Rakim was somebody that if he came on, I immediately I'm going crazy. Oh, I gotta get a tape. I gotta go get this. And the other brother for me was KRS-One. Those two guys, man, were like if I heard something new from them, I lit up like a Christmas tree in the inside, man, and I was just so excited. Oh man, it's a new song, yo, this new, and then you tape it and you go tell your friends, oh, you heard that new KRS joint, that BDP joint, man, and then you talk about you heard that new Rakim joint, and man, like stuff like that.
Those brothers made you want to be smart, man. They made it like cool, like when edutainment came out, like, and you
Yeah,
heard
man.
how sophisticated Rakim would rap. You
Yeah,
like, man, like, wow, that was just, it was
yeah.
dope, bro. Like, yeah,
And those are feelings that as you get older, you can't recreate those feelings that you had as
nah,
a kid.
that's
You know
right,
what I mean?
that's right.
Because
It's
it's
one of
so
those situations you had to be there.
yeah, and it's so new and so fresh, man. But man, man, I mean, it's just so many things, man, that
Mhm.
hip hop's done for me, man. And like I said, man, I'm just so fortunate to meet some of these guys that I was looking up to, and were some of my heroes, man. And so, man, man, hip hop, man. I don't know what else to say, man. It's hip hop, man. Hip hop is
That's
here.
right.
It's gonna always be here, and I just love it. And there's been an evolution, in hip hop, and for all the artists, man, I'm just gonna encourage, man, just keep pushing the culture forward, man,
Absolutely.
for another
And
50
for
years.
those, that's right. And for those that are watching us now on YouTube, all of the members of the Entrepreneur Chamber podcast that are tapping in, why don't you just in the comments section, write what you feel about hip hop and what hip hop
Yeah,
has done for you
that's
in this
right.
50th anniversary. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this one before we proceed on with the program. Did you ever think that hip hop would take it this far? Just write in the comments section yes, no.
That's
There's
right.
no, there's no right or wrong answer.
Right
You
or
know what I
wrong.
mean? If
That's
you're
right.
one that said no, then cool, so be it. If you're one that says yes, then you were able to see that it would go this far.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I ever even thought about it like that back then. Like
Yeah.
how, and I mean that was a great question that Biggie proposed in that
Yeah.
rhyme. Did you ever think, what was that in Daha Daha? Did you ever think that hip hop would take it this far?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now I'm in the
Doesn't juice.
limelight because I rhyme tight, so I
Doesn't
get
juice.
it.
That's
Like
right.
I didn't think of it like that back then. I was just submerged in the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yep. So
It's immersed in that culture, man, and I just
absolutely.
love it. And to this day, my kids, grow up, listening to hip hop, and I, give them the history and all that, man. So I really do feel like we need a whole episode for hip hop.
Yeah, we do.
Maybe
We
sometime
do.
this summer, I think we need a whole
We
episode on
do.
this, man.
We do.
But yeah, man. So look, we can talk for a whole another hour, but I think
I know. I
I
know.
think we, I
Hey
think we got
man.
to wrap this
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
fine
So for
episode up.
all the listeners, man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah,
Go ahead and hit that like button on behalf of your two favorite co-hosts,
that's
Mr.
it.
Sosa for the people and your brother I Just. So,
Yeah,
my brother, as you know, this closing means a lot to us.
yeah,
And it is our value. It is the proposition that we bring to, our community. If you would, my brother, just let the people know what we're looking to bring to the table.
Listen, first of all, before I say that, I just want to say thank you to all the people who put those questions in here. We thank you for that. It really does, kind of make it a very open episode. So we appreciate you for that. We already know, y'all. We already know what it was, what it is, and what it's always going to be. Please, all our members, all our listeners, and all our constituents, as always, please continue to empower us and help empower us so we can help empower you.
Peace all and be victorious. Peace.
Peace.
Being a CEO is not just an easy win, but if you stay consistent, your career will never end. The one thing I learned from mine, which is better than wealth, my career can go far if I invest in myself.